It's not about the goal or the things that you want. It's about the journey. It's about the growth that you have to go through in order to achieve your goal. And that growth is priceless.
Amos Madra.
Derrick De Meza, Proctor Gallagher Institute consultant, mindset coach. There's so much I want to talk to you about, just your journey, your story. It's very inspiring, and I think the audience will get a lot from this. A warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Amos, for having me. Thank you.
So, Derrick, talk to me about, where you are now. We know that as a consultant, with Proctor Gallagher Institute, your way of thinking and your way of living is in a certain way. And also as a mindset coach, you're someone who transforms people's minds from maybe negativity to self-belief and, that self-realization of what you can actually do with your own life, that there's no limit to what you can do and achieve. So talk to us about that and also your own personal life, how you became this transformational mindset coach.
Well, Amos, I must say that this is a really good question. And to start first with the first one, that the way that I now live and where I am is amazing, because every day I have the feeling that anything is possible. The only thing that I have to do is when I set the goal, I have to change the belief. I literally have to become that person in order to achieve that goal. But the most wonderful thing from my journey is that I'm able to help people all over the world that really want to change their life, people that really want something better. Because before I became a mindset coach or a Proctor Gallagher consultant, I was also just struggling like everybody, trying to pay the bills, trying to achieve goals, but nothing was working. And what I have realized is that as long as we don't change the way that we think, the person that we are on the inside, then the outside is nothing, is never going to change, because we literally have to think from the inside out, and then our reality is also going to change. And that is something that people don't really understand, because people always think from the outside in. If something happens to you, like for example, when you don't have money in the bank, you feel a certain way, and then you also act on a certain way. Tomorrow something else happened, and then you act again on that situation. So every time your decisions are based on circumstances, and your life is basically being controlled by circumstances. But the biggest challenge is, how do you feel happy? How do you stay positive if you don't have any money in the bank, if you're in a negative relationship, for example, or in a negative situation? But if you're able to do that, then you're going to see that basically nothing is impossible, because what you think, that's basically what you become. If I think that I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail, because that's what I'm saying to myself. But if I believe and I know that I can, and I feel that I can, but literally on a subconscious level, then I'm automatically going to take the action that is required in order to achieve that goal. And when you understand how your mind works, and you're able to set yourself on the vibration of the goals that you want to achieve, then basically there are no limits.
Yeah, and that's amazing, where you can set yourself to a certain vibration where there's no limits, and you can do whatever you set your mind to. How do these limiting beliefs just keep us so trapped? What are the steps? How can we be more intentional? How can we transform that paradigm, that way of thinking, to believing in ourselves and to seeing the results that we desire?
Well, first of all, there are a lot of steps that you need to take. But to make a long story short, is that it has all to do with living in the end. In order to do something, I first have to become the person that's able to do it. And that is the hardest thing. But if you know what you want and you have a vision of the life that you want to live, you can slowly start to create that self-image of that person that you need to become in order to achieve that goal. But you have to have something that you really want, because if the want is weak, the obstacle will not give way. So the first question that you have to ask yourself is, what is it that you really want? And when you know what that question is, the second one is going to be, who do I need to be in order to achieve my goal? What are the habits that I need to create? What are what is the self-image that I need to create? What are the action steps that I need to create? For example, if I look at you today, you're hosting this wonderful podcast all over the world. But I can imagine that you started somewhere, right? But if you did not see yourself as that person that you wanted to become, that person that you are now, then you're not going to take that action. I started, before I became a mindset coach, I was an accountant and I was struggling. And when I started with mindset coaching and people would ask myself, what do? I would get confused because now I didn't know what to say. I would say, for example, I'm an accountant, but I also do mindset. And at a certain point, I started to change that into mindset coach. A smoker can't quit if the smoker don't see himself as a non-smoker. For example, people that smoke, when you ask them, do you want a cigarette or do you have a cigarette? They would say, no, I'm trying to quit. But if you ask a smoker or a non-smoker, for example, do you have a cigarette? He would say, no, I don't smoke. He would not say, I'm trying to quit. So as long as the smoker sees himself as a smoker, he's not going to be able to change, to get to the next level. If I want to quit my job and become an entrepreneur, as long as I see myself as an employee, I'm never going to be able to become an entrepreneur. Because every time when I have to make a decision, I'm going to act as an employee, and I'm not going to get the results that I want. But if I start to see myself as an entrepreneur, then I'm going to start to take action, and I'm going to start thinking as an entrepreneur. I'm not going to think as an employee. So that is basically what it's all about. Is a long story short, is basically just about self-image, becoming that person that you need to become in order to achieve your goal.
Absolutely. And I think something really important that you mentioned is, what do you want to become rather than what do you need? So there's no desire in need. The desire is in want. And that want is what gives you the inspiration to take the action. Talk to us about that. The want versus need.
The want is something that you really want, no matter what situation it is or no matter what the circumstances are. People always set 3 types of goals. The first one that they set is doing something that they already know how to do, but then you're still getting the same results. And when they get tired of these goals, they start to set new goals with doing things that they think they can do. But it's still not something what you really want. And when you go after something that you really want, it does not matter if you have the money. It does not matter where you live or what your background is or what your education is. You're going to do it and you're going to take action. And what I have discovered in my own personal journey is that I never ask myself the question, what is it that I really want? I would always do things that are logic, things that are safe, things, for example, money, things that look at this moment like, okay, it's a good idea, so let me do this. When something would come along and I would think, oh, maybe this is a good opportunity that I would also do it. So I was constantly doing things that I think I should be doing. But I would never ask myself the question, what is it that I really want? And that's a really tough question to ask yourself. Because if I tell you like, Amos, listen, I'm going to give you now $1 million or maybe 10 million, and you can do whatever you want. The knowledge is not a problem. Money is not a problem. Information is not a problem. Everything that you need is already here. What would it be? People will get confused because they never ask themselves the question is, what is it that I really want, right? But when you start to think about the way you want to live, the time that you want to spend with your family, the hours that you want to work, the person that you want to become, the role model that you want to become, and who that person is, then you're going to realize that basically, or the way that I would see it is finding your purpose in life, is finding the things that really makes you happy. And the truth about that is that if you never go for the things that you really want, you're never going to be really, really happy. You're always going to do something that you think you can do or something that you already know how to do, instead of going for the things that you really want. So the question that I also need to ask myself is, do I really want to continue living like this? Do I really want to spend the rest of my life doing something that I think I should be doing, or for example, doing things that are paying the bills, instead of going for the things that I really, really want?
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And, just the wisdom and the value that you're bringing for us, it's absolutely incredible. I can imagine that when you look back on your life, it seems so far so different to what it was in the past to what it is now. Talk to us about the past versus today.
Well, I was born in a small country called Suriname. And in Suriname, the culture is really different. For example, I was born premature. And in my culture, when you're born premature, you're not considered so smart. So, so growing up for me was like really hard. I need everything that I wanted to do. If I wanted to achieve something, that belief would pop up in my mind. You're not good enough, or you're not smart enough. And that had a really negative affection on my youth. I didn't finish my education. I was always struggling. I would never try. Sometimes I would not even try. Like sometimes I would get opportunities, like maybe you should do this, and I would always say no, I cannot because I'm not good enough, or it is not for me. I would just leave it, and I would just see whatever happens. And this was something that really had a negative impact on my whole career. And when I got my first son, my wife got sick, and she could not walk, she couldn't eat, she could not walk, she could not sit, she could not feed the baby, and nothing was going well. The company that we were running at that time went downhill because I had to take care of my wife. We lost almost 50% of our income. You had to take care of the baby. She was mad at the doctors that they could not find a solution. I was mad at her, and we were just basically constantly fighting. And when you are in that negative situation, that negative cycle, for example, everything, and when you focus on something, it just expands. It's really tough to really come out of that situation. And when I realized that if I really want to create something new and I really want to get out of the situation, the only thing that I had to do is change the way I think. That was just basically the biggest mind change event that happened in my life. And currently, I'm trying to share as many as possible of this information to people. And what I have seen is that people most of the time are not even aware of the life that they're leading and the life that they basically could be living. But when you meet somebody that is really struggling, that they really want to change, and they basically try to get more information, they get to be aware of what they want and how they should do it and how their mind works. That's basically what I personally, for me, is amazing, and that's the feeling that basically feeds my soul to do this every day over and over again, because it's just seeing that life transformation. Sorry for the phone. It's just basically seeing that life transformation from people starting from struggling and then really start to live the life that they really want.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one key word you said there was your soul feels replenished, it feels fulfilled, it feels it's been nourished properly, and as a result of what you're studying and teaching. So it's a very holistic sort of program. So it's just not for the material world, but this is for your spirit, your soul. And the ultimate goal is to be spiritually, physically, financially, in every aspect fulfilled. And that to me just sounds incredible.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's amazing. That's imagine yourself doing something that you really want, something that you really love, but also be able to make a living out of it and also be able to help people all over the world. Um, if I look at you, for example, inspiring people all over the world with your podcast and motivation, that's amazing. I mean, who would not want to have such a job like this? That's yeah. I'm not sure how to explain it. That's just living the life, doing something that you really want, but at the same time having a global impact all over the world. That's just amazing. But also seeing those people grow from struggling and they really start to live and really living a happier life. But I
Yeah,
think that the most important thing is, I'm not sure if you have kids or not, is that all this knowledge that you're gathering, that you're also going to be able to pass it through your kids, and those kids are also going to transit over to the next generation, and that's something wonderful. That's priceless.
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
one
Yeah,
thing that I also wanted to add is that it's not about the goal or the things that you want, is about the journey, is about the growth that you have to go through in order to achieve your goal. And that growth is priceless.
wow, that's it. It's about the growth. Success is not the journey, but it's not the end result, but it's the journey to that end result. It's who you become. And, this is just so amazing. And I'm sure people listening, watching this will want to connect with you. So, Derrick, tell us, what can we expect from you in the near future, and how can the audience connect with you?
Now, if people want to connect with me, they can connect with me on Instagram or visit our website, visionactionreality.com. And my goal, since I started this business, is to have a global impact and to inspire people all over the world. My goal is basically to become the best Bob Proctor consultant that there is. And every day that I'm setting goals, I'm becoming the person that I need to become in order to achieve my goal. And I'm not sure what else to say. It's just an amazing transformation.
Yeah. Derrick, Bob will definitely be looking at you, smiling, and knowing that, he has raised a champion in the Proctor Gallagher Institute and someone who's making an impact in the world. Bob's goal when he was starting out was to be all over the world. And,
Yes,
before he passed, he achieved
ex
that. And he's
exactly.
making an impact. And now he's touched you. You were talking about generational
Yeah,
blessing onto children. You spoke about Bob being a spiritual father, and he has touched you. And now that same anointing, if you want to say, has been passed on, the baton has been passed on to you. And now you're impacting people around the world as well. So, you're doing an incredible job. I'm truly honored to have you here as a guest today. And I know that there's going to be some more great work coming from you. And really cannot wait to have you back on this podcast again.
thank you very much, Amos. It was a pleasure meeting you, and I can't wait to the next podcast.
Thank you. If you want some amazing inspiration, check out the videos next to me, and I'll see you right there.